This is Mido Multifort 8 2 crowns, and in my opinion, this is one of the best value for money watches on the market right now. In today's video, I will do a full review of this timepiece. I'll point out all the positives and the negatives as I find them. Now, as always, let's talk about the case and the dimensions. This watch comes in a stainless steel case. It's about 40 millimeters in case diameter. It's about 44.8 millimeters from one lock to another. And it's a very thin timepiece, only 9.5 millimeters in case height. The finishes on this watch are outstanding. I really like the play between the satin finish and the high polish finish. Like for example, on the bezel, the top of the bezel is executed with the satin. However, the sides where the sort of hexagon design takes shape are finished in high polish, which creates a very nice interplay with the light. It also makes the design and the overall watch feel a lot more expensive than it actually is. And actually just holding this watch in your hands, it does feel more expensive. I think partially due to the thinness of the watch. It has a lot of heft, but it's pretty thin, and automatically your brain kind of associates high quality with the thinness and the heft. It's like when you take an iPhone in your hands, it feels kind of premium, right? It feels that it's thin and it's hefty, and that's the feeling I get when I pick up one of these watches. It just feels pretty solid and well put together. There are two crowns on the case, one at the 4 o'clock position, that's to control the movement, one at the 2 o'clock position, that's to operate the inner rotating bezel, and both crowns are screw-down crowns, helping with water resistance. This watch features 100 meters of it. The operation on the crown at the 2 o'clock position is very straightforward. You unscrew it and it automatically pops out, and now you can operate the bezel. There is slight notchiness to this bezel, so it's not absolutely smooth. You can feel a little bit of the notches, which is kind of nice and satisfying in general. Once you selected the position that you want to lock in, you simply push the crown in and you screw it down at the same time, and that's how you operate the bezel. In terms of the design of these crowns, so the blue version has the PVD coated blue crowns, which I think looks really good, and overall it kind of balances out the design. The other two versions feature different crowns, but for the review I only have the blue version. In terms of the shape of these crowns and the overall operation, it's pretty good. Sometimes having weirdly shaped crowns can make it a bit of a hassle to wind the watch or to operate the movement. In this case, I think it's not really a hindrance in any way. It is pretty much as simple to operate as a standard crown would be. After reviewing probably hundreds of different watches on YouTube, one of the things that separates a really good watch from an average watch is the crystal. And it's a very small differences between a great one and a good one. So first of all, the way the crystal integrates into the case. As you can see on this watch, there's pretty much no gap. You can't see where the crystal was cut. On the cheaper watches, on watches with lesser quality, you can definitely see that edge of the crystal. Here, it's integrated seamlessly. The second thing is actually the clarity and the AR coating. Not all sapphire crystals are equal, and having Swatch Group branding and power behind you definitely helps. I think this crystal is one of the better ones that I've seen in this price point. First of all, the AR coating is excellent. It pretty much gets no glare. It's very sort of clear and you can see through it. It's not in the way. Sometimes these crystals can be in the way, especially in sort of bright lighting conditions, and they distract you from the overall design. I think Mido did a great job with this crystal. I know it's a small part of the watch to focus on, but it does make a pretty big difference. And this watch actually does feature a sapphire sandwich, because on the back you find another sapphire crystal. Of course, you have a screw down case back, and the way this case back is designed, it kind of molds itself into the case because the watch is super thin. This case back doesn't stick out in any way. This model is available with 3 different dial variations. There is the black one, the sort of grayish greenish one, and the blue one. Of course, for this review, I have the blue one, and that's actually my favorite out of the 3. Although the black does look pretty attractive, it also features different accents on the crown. And the difference between the blue one and the black one, the big difference that I noticed, is that the black dial version features a color-matched date wheel. This one features a white date wheel, which I actually think is a positive. I tried to imagine this watch with the color-matched date wheel, where the background of the date wheel would be executed in the same shade of blue, and I don't think they would work really well. I think here it kind of creates a nice stark contrast, and it also fits with the white color of the indexes. At the first glance, I assumed that this dial was sandwich dial just because of the way it's designed, but it's not. It just kind of tricks your mind into thinking that it's a sandwich design. And also having that inner rotating bezel creates quite a bit of depth to this dial, which is very hard to achieve with these thin watches. By their nature, thin watches just don't have a lot of real estate to operate and to create layers. As I said, the dial kind of looks almost sandwiched, and you have that slope on the inner rotating bezel, and the dial also features these horizontal lines, which add a lot of texture and a lot of depth to this dial. There's minimal writing here, just Mido automatic written by the 12 o'clock position and Multifort written by the 6 o'clock position. And another small detail that I appreciate Mido taking a step to sort of perfect is having the Mido logo and the Multifort kind of integrated into the design. I used to have this Seiko, and I really liked that watch, but the reason why I got rid of it was a very small detail. I hated how the Seiko logo was sort of featured on this platform, which was very distracting. Here, the logo and the writing is kind of integrated into these horizontal stripes, which doesn't distract you, and in fact, it makes the watch feel more high-end. The last thing I will mention about these horizontal lines, they create almost this effect that reminds me of the toys I used to have as a kid. I don't know what they're called, but they're these visual illusion toys. You know, when you look at it from one side, it looks like one thing, and you look at it from another side and it's a completely different picture, or it creates a different lighting. Well, it's a similar effect with this dial. If you look at it from a certain angle, especially from sort of downwards on an angle, you can see that the dial almost lights up, and it's because of these horizontal lines and the way they interact with the light, which creates a very interesting effect. And it makes the watch, not only the case of the watch play with the light, but the dial itself. I would classify this watch as sort of an everyday sporty watch. It's not necessarily a diver, even though it does feature a diver style bezel, but it only comes with 100 meters of water resistance. So this is sort of go anywhere, do anything type of timepiece. And of course, these type of timepieces need lume. This one features the Super Luminova, which is all right. I actually feel like they could have used more lume on the set of hands. Looking at the lume, it feels like the indexes are loomed more aggressively than the set of hands. It's a very small nitpick, and the lume is good enough for this type of watch, but if I really wanted to make it perfect, I would just add more lume to the set of hands. This model is available on both the stainless steel bracelet and this integrated rubber strap. I can't really discuss the quality or the feel of the stainless steel bracelet since I don't have one in front of me. The only thing that I will say, I don't like how the stainless steel bracelet doesn't really taper. I wish it did taper, but it's one of those things that you really have to feel in hands. You have to feel it on your wrist to see if it's a hindrance or not. In terms of this rubber strap, I really like it. I think it's nice and soft. It integrates into the case very well. There are very tight tolerances. There's pretty much no play, no gap. It kind of feels like one piece. It also features quick release pins, so you can easily swap this strap for a different strap or for a bracelet, and I do hope that Mido releases more different strap colors and strap options. I think that would be kind of fun. The hardware on the strap is very simple. It's a simple tank buckle with a couple of loops. I do kind of wish that they charged maybe 20-30 bucks more, but gave us a different type of clasp, you know, the clasp that hides access strap on the inside and kind of always stays together like that. In my opinion, that would work really well with this watch, and it would just bring it up to that next level, but as it is right now, it's pretty good. The only thing that I will say about the strap is that even though it's very nice and soft, it doesn't have much stretch to it at all. It's kind of rigid at the same time, which comes into play when you have the watch on your wrist. And speaking of the watch on the wrist, here it is on my 7.5 inches wrist, and as you can see, the watch fits really well because of its slim design. The more watches I review, the more I appreciate a slim watch, because it just wears so much better than anything else, especially with this integrated strap design. If the watch is too thick, it doesn't feel very good, and it also wears a lot larger. Now, this watch being 40 millimeters does wear pretty large. I think if you have a smaller wrist, unfortunately, this watch will feel kind of awkward and probably will be too big for you. So I'd say you probably need about a 6.25, a 6.5 inch wrist to comfortably wear this watch. The other thing I want to note about the fit of this watch on the wrist is the fact that the strap doesn't really stretch, as I mentioned, and that creates a bit of a dilemma for you, because do you want to wear it pretty tightly around your wrist, or do you want to wear it looser? And I found that wearing it a little bit looser fits better and feels better on my wrist. It gives it a little bit more breathing room, and overall is just much more comfortable. Usually I prefer to wear watches tightly. However, this one, because there is pretty much no stretch to the rubber strap, I found it that it's more comfortable to wear it a bit looser. In terms of the movement powering this Mido is the caliber 72, which is based on the ETA A31.111. It's essentially the same movement that Longines uses in their diver watches and some of their other models, which is kind of a higher end movement. A pretty good comparison to this watch is the Tissot PRX that uses the Powermatic 80. This movement is a step above the Powermatic 80. It's a better movement. It's a better beat movement. It beats at 3.5 Hertz or 25,200 vibrations per hour. It also comes with 72 hours of power reserve. It's also a better finished movement, and it's one of their sort of higher end movements. It also features higher anti-magnetic properties because the balance spring is made out of Niva chrome. And lastly, of course, the movement is super slim, and that's why the watch itself is super slim. So overall, I'm actually really impressed that you get this movement in a watch for around $1,200-1,300. As I stated at the beginning of this video, in my opinion, this is one of the better value for money watches that you can find on the market. First of all, I really like how this watch looks. A lot of times when I'm reviewing watches, I say something along the lines of, I really like the look of this watch, if only it didn't have this, or if only it had that. On this watch, I can't really add anything or take anything away. I think the overall look and the balance is there. I appreciate how it looks, and of course the parallels could be drawn between this and something like the AP Offshore. Although out of the two, looking at them side by side, I prefer the look of this watch. I like that it doesn't have the screws on the bezel, and overall the thinness of this watch just kind of pushes it over the line. So even comparing it to the watch in a much higher price category, look-wise at least, I prefer this watch. And in terms of comparing it to another sort of direct comparison, the Citizen 8 series, I looked at both watches side by side. I actually went to the Citizen store, and again, I prefer this watch. I think it just sort of looks better, it feels better. The Citizen is good, it kind of just feels a little bit too chunky, and at the same time, light almost. Again, that comparison that I made with the iPhone, it doesn't feel as solid. It kind of feels a little bit too hollow for my preference. Maybe it was just the experience on the day, but out of all the options, I prefer this watch. Now, one word of caution is, of course, you have to like the design of these integrated design watches, right? If you don't like the design, if you don't like how this watch looks, how it feels with that integrated bracelet or the integrated rubber strap, you're not gonna like this watch, and that's totally fine. There are a lot of other watches on the market, and a lot of them I did review. Check out those videos on the YouTube channel. Also, I appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this in the future, and let me know in the comment section below what you think about this watch. A huge thank you for Mido Canada for providing this watch for the review. And actually, kind of a fun note, in Canada, this watch is actually cheaper than it is in US, because in US, I think it's priced at around $1,300. It's something like $1,270. In Canada, this watch is priced at $1,500, which, if you do the conversion, is cheaper in Canada than it is in US. So kind of a fun fact. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.